Good morning. I'm exhausted. Yes, I have the same clothes on as yesterday because I went to work, and there's no point when I'm staying somewhere and changing my clothes. I was there alone. This just goes to show how incredibly understaffed our residential dwellings are in this company. It's unheard of to be alone in a new house, an unfamiliar house with 8 residents, some of whom were ill, alone. I'm just happy they all slept through the night. And I did some paperwork and watched TV. And anyway, I'm freaking exhausted. And I work at a different house again, 4 to 10. And then I work another overnight tomorrow night before I go to court. So, I know none of you guys think I'm lazy, but I do say, as kind of like a pre-defense of myself, I'm not lazy. And I would have a very hard time accepting charity. And I work very, very, very hard for the small amount of money I earn, and I'm proud of that fact. I'm proud of serving the disabled community. I can't really take a nap. I don't do well with taking naps during the day. It's 9 o'clock, and at 11:53, I'm picking up my friend Steve from the train station. He's coming over to keep me company, and because I haven't seen him in a while, he was in Texas over the holidays. But he's going to help me. He printed out a whole bunch of my poems, which I'm going to need for the reading, and he's going to help me set up my copier and laptop, run a virus protection, install software. All these things I have no idea. Like, I know where the on-off button is and how to type things out. You know what I mean? So, but I'm sure it's like riding a bike. It'll all come back to me. I'm all blotchy because I'm just like, whatever. I just took my meds. I'm drinking coffee from work. Had to blow into my thing a couple times. It's still disconcerting when it beeps when I'm driving. Um, there are times when the roads around here are very twisty and turny, and there's a lot of bridges and there's a lot of causeways, and it's really disconcerting to blow into something and count, especially when you have to do it a couple of times in a row. And it's dumb to complain about it. People tend to pull me up short when I complain because it's like, even my lawyer, whom I'm not hugely fond of right now, it's like, it's a consequence. This is the consequence. I know it's a consequence. I don't have to be happy about it, okay? I'm complying and I'm doing all the things. I don't have to be happy about it. Am I grateful I'm alive? Yes. Am I grateful I didn't hit anyone during that half mile? Yes, most definitely. I am grateful. But I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going to happen Monday, and best case and worst case scenarios, and how ridiculous it is that I would be penalized by the state for trying to get to work simply because I don't have a set schedule. I said to my lawyer, I don't understand. You're going to have to explain this to me again. That's my job. I can't pay the court or you or anybody if I don't have money coming in. And he just continues to equivocate with me. And he said something like, the judge can't do anything about that. And I'm like, he's the judge. He said, when you have a conditional license, there has to be a schedule so that we know where you're going to be at any given time. And it's like, I have a Intoxilock camera and GPS in my vehicle right now. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not a joyrider. I'm a 53-year-old woman who fucked up, admittedly, but I'm also a responsible worker. I'm someone that needs to get to doctor appointments, including my thyroid doctor this month for sure, and therapy, and AA, and the grocery store. I mean, he did say that you're allowed 2 hours each weekend to go to a grocery store, or in my case, the laundromat in a grocery store. Um, will people pick me up for meetings? Yes. I know I can reach out to people in AA. Am I going to panic about not being able to go back and forth to work for a month? Not necessarily, because my consolidation loan is coming through in a month, so I'll be able to get caught up on bills. I'm just nervous by nature. Nobody wants to go to court. Nobody wants to stand there and realize that you're a drunk driver. I'm just aggravated with this lawyer because I feel like he patronizes me, and I feel like my questions aren't being answered. He's only met with me face to face once, you know. He just seems very nonplussed about everything, like it's this formula. And I'm like, if it's a formula, then why did I even need a lawyer, for $3,000? He's giving me a break because he's normally 5 grand, but, he said to me, this is not going to get resolved in one hearing. And I'm like, courts are notorious for pushing up dates and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, it's ironic that I need to work to make money for all this stuff. And now they're punishing me by not letting me go to work. And yes, I can take Ubers and cabs. And do you know what that costs around here or anywhere? When I went to get my Intoxilock put in, I went there and then took a cab home. And then I had to take a cab back there. The place is like 2 miles from my house. And the cab back and forth was, I think it was 12 or 13. And then I gave a $2 tip. So it was like a $30. If I had to do that every day, it's like almost not worth it to work. I make $12 an hour, if you can believe that. I care for profoundly disabled people in their homes, all aspects of care, and I make less money than people do at Dunkin' Donuts. And that's what's wrong with our society today. And that's my venting and my rant. And I know I'm tired, but it's not worth it. Well, maybe it is worth it. I don't know. 9 a.m. and I have to be out of here to get Steve at 11:30, and I have a meeting at 12:30, so it's going to be really interesting to dash him back to my house, and then dash to a meeting. Last night's open mic was really fun. I didn't feel quite as self-conscious as I normally would have. I'm usually very self-conscious, not because of my poems or my presentation, but it sounds so stupid at my age to say this, but it's because of my weight. You know what I mean? Like, since I was a little kid, I just feel like everyone's just focused on weight. And that is so dumb. You know what I mean? First of all, if people judge me for being fat, it's not my problem, it's theirs. Second of all, a person can observe another person's physicality and not necessarily come to a judgment. If I see someone who's short, I go, oh, there's a person who's short. If I see someone who's tall, there's a tall person. There's skinny people, there's fat people, there's beautiful people, there's plain people. I don't know why I get so hung up on how I look. And I know that makes it seem like I'm vain, but it's really not. It's insecurity. So I'm up there trying to be calm and read my poems with the right emotional inflections and etc. And I could feel myself, twitching and fidgeting and kind of like pulling down my shirt and doing that whole thing where it's like, what do I do with my hands? And, if I'm supposed to be some kind of a someday professional poet, or a narrator of something, you can't do that. Like, you have to use all the resources you have. Like, I have to use my voice and eye contact and, like, who cares if someone's looking at me thinking I'm fat? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a judgment attached to it. And if there is, that's just stupid. That's not something for me to worry about. One of the guys playing guitar and singing last night was heavy set. I wasn't thinking about that. I mean, you notice when someone's heavy set, but all I could think was like, wow, what an amazing songwriter and guitar player. And he spoke to me after his set. We were actually both walking out at the same time. And I said, you did a good job, man. I really enjoyed that. And he said, oh, well, did you perform tonight? Because he got there late. And I said, I read poetry first. And he said, I'm really, really sorry. I missed that. I love poetry. And that's how I started out being a songwriter. And I said, yeah, I used to write song lyrics, but I don't know how to play anything or sing or anything. So that was nice. And then as I was leaving to get in my car, there was this girl like outside in the smoking area. And, I love your poetry, she called out to me. And, sometimes just hearing a compliment from 1 or 2 people in a crowd is really like all you need to kind of buoy yourself up. It was funny to read to such a noisy crowd because it was a restaurant and a bar. So it's not like an actual reading where people are sitting there. Excuse me, this is disgusting. I really should just take this damn thing out. That is so gross, I'm sorry. When I put my finger in and twist it, it's because I'm twisting the corkscrew up. Yeah, so I'm so close to the mic, I'm getting like lipstick on it, which was disgusting. But I wanted to get my voice out there, but nobody would stop talking. Really, it was only the people in like the first 2 rows that were paying attention. And it makes you feel funny to just be like trying to get this like poetic message out and everyone's just like doing their thing, which is fine. Like I said, it was a bar and restaurant. People weren't necessarily there to hear poetry or music, but when I was done, and I knew some people liked it, I just felt good for having done it. You know what I mean? To get the practice of it and to just be able to publicly speak, which I used to be petrified of. You couldn't have paid me to get up there and do any of this. But I stayed up in the front row and I listened to the musicians, and I noticed with a lot of admiration the way they just played and sang and got into it, no matter who was listening or not, because the din in the crowd never really calmed down, even for the musicians, and they were good. They were good. There was a woman who sang fantastically, a young woman, an original song about about falling in love with a girl who left her boyfriend for her. So I thought that was a very interesting topic of a song. And then this guy Alex, who spoke to me after, he sang beautifully. And then there was Omar, and I forget the other guy. He sang I want to say Maroon 5, but it was not Maroon 5. Oh, it's in that genre. It doesn't matter now. But they all did a good job. It didn't seem like amateur talent. It seemed like, something you'd hear on American Idol or something. So that was really fun, and I found out there's an open mic there the first Friday of every month. So I wrote that on my calendar, and that'll be a fun way to just keep going with this, and especially to meet people and talk to people, and just it's a way of getting out of my self-imposed alcoholic shell, which I've been in for years. Between that and doing the thing in the city and going to meetings, like I just feel more social and less awkward. So that's my report of the day on this dreary, rainy, chilly Saturday, when it's still early enough in the day to where the day can only get better. I'm not going to say worse. I'm going to say better. Maybe I'll even come back on and read another poem that I have written down. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to take a shower and just change and get a few things done today. Okay, so peace. Enjoy your Saturday. Bye for now. Thanks for listening.